welcome to the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment as the Carolina Panthers defeat the Washington Redskins 26-15 on Monday Night Football. And man, the story today to me is about the Washington Redskins. This is a team that was in the heat of playoff contention before this game. And I guess they still are after this game, but a lot of us expected the Redskins to win this game. A lot of us picked the Redskins to win this game. Some of us didn't even watch this game because we were so convinced the Redskins were going to win this game, but the Redskins, they just came out flat today, especially offensively. I know the defense is bad. We all know that. If you followed the Redskins, if you watched any of their games throughout the entire season, this Redskins defense, it just isn't very good. They're trying to get some more players involved and give some different teams some different looks, but it's just not working out. Today, again, Bashaud Breeland, the guy doesn't know what he's doing out there. Duke Iheanacho, I like to call him Duke Idiot Nacho because the guy's an idiot. He doesn't know where he is. He's always in the wrong spot. Martrell Spate, he has shown some nice signs. Like today, he had some nice sure tackles, and but other times he was misplaced. There was one horrible play where he failed to cover a running back on a wheel route, and he fell down. He did a front flip. It was so bad. He was so out of place. So he's inconsistent. Dante Whitner just stinks. He and Josh Norman, I don't know what happened on the Ted Ginn touchdown that occurred, I believe, in the second quarter, or the first quarter, actually, where he was wide open. Cam Newton just threw Ted Ginn this football over the middle of the field, 30-yard touchdown, and Dante Whitner was about 5 yards to the left of Ted Ginn, and freaking Josh Norman was 5 yards to the right of Ted Ginn, both of whom looked like they weren't supposed to be actually covering him. So I don't know what happened there. I think it was Josh Norman's fault, but either way, there was a miscommunication there. You have to look at their defensive coordinator, Joe Barry, and say, man, this guy hasn't really had a good defense for Washington now for 2 years. Maybe it's time for a change at defensive coordinator for this football team in Washington. They're just not be able to get anything in terms of defensively. Whenever their offense has a flat day, and it's going to happen in the NFL, the Patriots only scored 16 points against Denver yesterday, right? But their defense stepped up. They said, okay, our offense for once is not doing much. Watch as we step up and win a football game. The Washington Redskins defense, it never steps up. Maybe for one drive here or there, but never for an entire game, and never when the Redskins offense is flat like it was today. You look at Kirk Cousins. He was all right, but I was not in love at all with in terms of his mobility in and out of the pocket. I thought he was leaving the pocket sometimes too early, trying to make a lot of throws on the run. Bro, you're not Michael Vick. You're not Marcus Mariota. Hell, you're not even Jameis Winston. Stay in the pocket some more. Early in the season, I remember I wanted him to move around a little bit more, but now he just looks awkward and goofy. He was just running around, not necessarily, and just throwing incomplete passes. I said, what are you doing right now with this in terms of this offense? I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what their plan was. They couldn't run the football today. I remember a couple weeks ago when the Redskins went up against the Green Bay Packers, and Robert Kelly had 157 yards, and I came on here and I told you, when I looked at him and I looked at his skills and his attributes and his traits and his running abilities, I wasn't impressed. Yeah, he had 157 yards, but I didn't see anything that suggested that this guy's, going to be really good for years to come, or that this guy has, unique talents and a unique skill set. I didn't see anything. And then tonight, 9 carries for 8 yards, and he's not this bad. Obviously this is a horrible game for him, and he'll be better next week than this, hopefully, but he's just not that good, right? He's not that dynamic. His 5-yard touchdown was all right. He's a powerhouse. They call him Fat Rob for a reason, I guess. He's a guy that can move the pile. He moved the pile there, and he got a 5-yard touchdown, but I think his running back vision, I think it's pretty bad. I think it's pretty simplistic. I don't see him doing anything, out creative or innovative or outwardly. I don't see anything from this guy to indicate to me that he's the Redskins running back of the future, especially when you do have a guy like Kirk Cousins, who is fine. He's not bad. If I were you, I would extend him and whatever, but I think if you want to win a Super Bowl in the future, you're going to need a top running back. Okay, with Kirk Cousins, he's going to need to have, to me, a running game that is consistent and consistently pretty freaking good in a defense that it can be average, right? But the Redskins defense right now, it's not even average. It's just pretty freaking bad, and we saw that on display today. The Panthers only put up 26 points. It should have been 29 because Graham Gano missed an easy field goal, and it probably could have been even more than that, as the Panthers failed to convert a number of times in the red zone, and it was just a disaster. Jonathan Stewart ran for 132 yards tonight. I mean, Jonathan Stewart, we're not talking about Adrian Peterson, Ezekiel Elliott. We're talking about Jonathan Stewart, J-Stu. I don't understand it. They even let Mike Tolbert's fat ass get in the end zone. They don't know what they're doing. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Redskins. Now let's look at the Carolina Panthers. And you're saving your season. You're salvaging your season. You're making something out of it. I was impressed today with Kawan Short. I know he had the play where he pushed Kirk Cousins out of bounds, but I thought that was a horrible penalty. Honestly, just terrible. It's so unfortunate for these players. Do you remember a play with Deshaun Jackson? I want to say it occurred in the second or third quarter. I believe the second quarter when the Redskins were driving at the end of the quarter, when Deshaun Jackson is striding up the sideline and he's pushed out by Trey Boston, I believe. That was much harder than how Kirk Cousins was pushed out. But Kirk Cousins is a quarterback, and you have to be kind to these guys. But you don't know how many times I see even a quarterback or a running back or a wide receiver just straddle that sideline for 5, 10, 15 yards. You have to push them out. You have to do it. And Kirk Cousins, if Kawan Short is even a little bit later, Kirk Cousins is going to keep going. The very last second did he decide, okay, I'm going to step out now. And they called the penalty on Kawan Short anyway. I thought it was a horrible penalty. They need to give these defenders some credit, especially a guy like Kawan Short. This guy's a defensive tackle. The guy's over 300 pounds. You think this guy's going to be able to stop on a dime when he's trying to chase down Kirk Cousins? Oh, dear God, no. I thought that was a horrible penalty, but he played really good to me. Cam Newton, the quarterback that we all know, some of us love, some of us hate, and today he played pretty well. His completion percentage is still pretty ass. Okay, he was only 31 of 37, but he had 300 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. He had no interceptions. This is one of his better games of the season. A lot of it due to the Redskins' porous defense, but whatever. He'll take it. He needs a confidence booster, and you saw him dancing yet again at the end of this game. Bro, when you gonna learn? Maybe I should just be humble because next week I may lose and I'm gonna be pouting again, and you just can't keep going back and forth like this, bro. But whatever. You do you, Cam Newton. Jonathan Stewart ran great today. And you look at their wide receivers, I'm very disappointed with Kelvin Benjamin lately. And just this entire season, after the first 2 weeks, I said, oh yeah, Kelvin Benjamin, this boy's back. He's really good. I'm thinking 1,300 yards possibly for Kelvin Benjamin. But since then, he really hasn't done anything. He was a no-show against the Minnesota Vikings. I think you played them. He was pretty much a no-show today. And you're only going against Josh Norman, who, while he is a good cornerback, the guy's like 5'11". You telling me you can't catch a pass over this guy? Kelvin Benjamin, he's not getting enough in this offense. Ted Ginn is now showing up after being quiet earlier in the season, so you like seeing that. Greg Olsen, he's always there. He's always consistent. But now you're looking at this Panthers team, and Devin Funchess isn't doing anything. They need a wide receiver now, and we thought they didn't, and perhaps maybe next offseason they work harder and some of these wide receivers step up and they're able to play better next season. But Kelvin Benjamin, where are you at? Devin Funchess, where are you at? I heard, oh, this guy's developing. Look out for Devin Funchess this season. He's caught some stuff, but he hasn't been dynamic to me. Hasn't been anyone that the defense is planning for, especially not that. So the receiving core, it needs work. They need to work on this receiving core. Luckily, some of these guys are young. Devin Funchess and Kelvin Benjamin. And some of you will argue, well, let Kelvin Benjamin have another season, with this new leg. But I'm not impressed with him at all. I think he's being very unaggressive. I think he's being very passive. And it's kind of like this whole Panther team, when things are going well, like they were last season, and everyone's playing well. But as soon as they start losing games, then things kind of tumbled down. But now they're saving their season a little bit. You know, you looking at mock drafts 2 weeks ago, you're in the top 7. Now you're going to be like number 12. And personally, to me, that kind of sucks. I would have loved to see the Panthers. I mean, I don't care. But if I was a Panther fan, I would have loved to see us at the top of the draft, drafting a Leonard Fournette or drafting a Jamal Adams and saying, hey, look at this nice piece we got for sucking for 1 year. But now you're going to be in the middle of the draft. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is a nice, I know a lot of y'all Panther fans out there were thinking like how I was thinking, like, oh snap, we could get somebody good right here. Defensively, Carl Coleman, this guy, I don't like this guy at all. I know he led the team in tackles today, but I saw a number of missed plays, number of missed tackles, number of missed assignments. I don't know what he's doing half the time, but you miss Luke Kuechly, obviously. Thomas Davis, he's not playing as well without Luke Kuechly. So, I mean, that's something I didn't expect to see, but I'm seeing that more and more. I mean, he's not bad, but I feel like he's much more impactful when Luke Kuechly is out there. AJ Klein has been all right in Luke Kuechly's absence. Star-Lord Lele, he had a number of tackles today, and I mean, not really too much noteworthy on this Panthers defense. Their cornerbacks are struggling a little bit. Darryl Worley, James Bradbury. They did let Deshaun Jackson get over 100 yards today. They let Pierre Garçon end up with 78 receiving yards, so that's too much. But overall, I guess they did fine. And this Panthers team next week, they go up against... Let's check actually who they go up against. Carolina next week, they face the Atlanta Falcons in Carolina. And, you know, I was looking at this game, and I still don't know who I'm going to pick to win this game. I mean, this is a tough game for me. The way Atlanta is playing lately, I think I have to pick them because they're just blowing teams out right now. They should be able to take care of business. And although the Panthers won today, I felt it was more so because the Redskins came up flat than the Panthers just played great. So I think I'm going to pick the Falcons there, but we'll see. And then the week after that, you guys go up against Tampa Bay. I have to see with Tampa Bay if they're just flat after their loss against Dallas, but I project both of these will be losses. And it'll be a 6-10 season for you. But I could be wrong. And when you look back at the Panthers now, their last, let's say, 7 games, they haven't been bad, right? They got blown out by the Seahawks. Now, that one's terrible. But they beat the Rams. They lost to the 10-4 Chiefs by 3 points. They beat the Saints. They lost to the 11-3 Raiders by 3 points. Got blown out by the Chargers. Handled the San Diego Chargers. And tonight, handled the Washington Redskins. So, you know, their form is looking a lot better lately, but too little, too late. And as for the Washington Redskins, this loss hurts. In terms of the playoffs, this loss hurts. I know New York Giants fans, they're so thrilled and happy because I know they haven't officially clinched a playoff spot because of this, but in all actuality, they have. I mean, if you look at the scenarios that have to take place for the Giants to miss the playoffs, they're in. Okay, so now you're looking for that 6th seed and you're hoping Tampa Bay loses. I don't think they're going to. I think Tampa Bay is going to win out for the rest of the season and they're going to clinch that 6th seed or their 4th seed depending on if Atlanta falters, but I don't project they will. For right now, we'll see how things shake out. But next week, you guys go to Chicago. And initially, I was looking at this game like yesterday or the day before that saying, the Redskins might, trip up there and lose that one. But after this loss, you will be desperate. You will be hungry for a win. You'll go to Chicago and you'll win. Next, you guys host the New York Giants. And the good thing about this matchup, this week, I want you guys to go watch this Giants game on Thursday Night Football and hope and pray and cheer on the New York Giants for this football game. You want them to win that game. Why? Because if they do, there will be no incentive for the New York Giants to play up to anything in this Week 17 game. There will be absolutely no incentive. They won't play hard. You'll win 2-0, and then you'll hopefully you'll sit back and watch as things shake out in your favor. Right now, I don't think that they will. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win out. They're going to go 10-6, and Atlanta will probably also win out and go 11-5. Tampa Bay, the 6th seed, 5th seed, New York Giants, and you guys have missed out on the playoffs. But I could easily be wrong. Maybe Tampa Bay isn't as good as I think they are, and they lose one, and then you'll also need the Lions to lose out, I believe. Yeah, you definitely do. And then, you may need some other stuff. So we'll see, but man, this loss hurts. You came out flat, you choked, you didn't show up. You missed a huge opportunity here to make the playoffs for the 2nd consecutive time, for the first time since God knows when, and you blew it. And it's unfortunate. But in terms of the future, I still think that, overall, I said before the season, I had the Redskins going 8-8 this season. And they actually look like they're going to be better than that. They're definitely going to be better than that. But they're going to go at least 8-7-1 and probably 9-6-1. But I said the schedule is way too difficult. It's proven to be that. And even though you may miss the playoffs this season, there's a lot of hope for optimism in the future. So I think you're fine overall to me. But I know it's going to hurt to miss the playoffs this season. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Monday Night Football game between the Washington Redskins and the Carolina Panthers. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out.